The Walt Disney Company has absolutely lost its magic, and I'm still in awe at how quickly that seems to have taken place. We'll talk about it more in just a second here. SKTV. Walt Disney Company used to be the gold standard for family entertainment across the board. Whether it was their theme parks, their cruise ships, their television shows, their movies, their television networks, even their stuff online and video games and comic books, they used to be the gold standard for family entertainment, and a variety of it at that. For many years, for most of my years growing up as a millennial, the Walt Disney Company was the absolute gold standard. It was the go-to. There was no question. Disney movie came out, yeah, the whole family's going to go see it, absolutely. Whether it looks good or meh, we'll go see it, because we know it's at the very least going to be fun, or attempt to be fun. If a movie said Disney's before it came out, it was going to be great. It was going to be great. Wanted to go to Disney World for years, finally went for the first time in 2005. It was a great experience. Then I went again 2 or 3 years later, and it was less of a great experience due to a lot of the circumstances, but now the parks are even worse from what I'm hearing. You know, you have to use the Genie, you sign up for Genie Plus, you have to use the apps to navigate the entire parks if you're going to do an actual trip. And a lot of the attractions have been reworked. Splash Mountain, one of the most iconic rides in the park's history, was torn down and reworked because there's perceptions of racism with Song of the South, that many of which are completely misguided. It's a company that not only is it no longer a core family business, or family-oriented business, rather. It hasn't been a family business since Roy O. died, really, and it was taken over. I mean, that was the end of it being the Disney Company, just Disney in name only. But it's no longer a family-centric business, because under Eisner and Roy E. and all of those guys, it was still a family business. And I know how people feel about Eisner. I'm not here to champion him at all, but good decisions were made in spite of him. They were. Because he was in charge when I was growing up, and a lot of good stuff came from that era. Disney Channel was at its absolute peak. They were producing originals that were fantastic, in original series and movies. Disney World was still the place to be, the place to go. Same with Disneyland. There was a resurgence of gaming with stuff like Kingdom Hearts. Oh my gosh, Kingdom Hearts 2 is one of the best games ever made. I mean, the list just goes on and on. People wanted to go on the cruise ships. They had Disney stores that were still open. People were buying Disney merchandise. There was a cult of Disney really being built up, and it's unfortunately still around today. But it used to be the gold standard of family entertainment. Doesn't matter what age you were, you could still enjoy some good old Disney. But now what's happened? Well, they decided to pick a fight with the governor of Florida over ideology and over their own politics. They've decided that they want to be involved in identity politics from the get-go. The campaign Reimagine Tomorrow, which I think they've subsequently abandoned, and rightfully so, was an absolute disaster, because basically the philosophy was, we're going to make everything more diverse, more equitable, more inclusive, but to do that, we're going to tear down our own legacy. And as a result, you get more and more projects based on diversity as opposed to based on good storytelling and being family-friendly, family-oriented. Let's reinvent characters to look the way that we want them to look. Even though they're designed to appeal to everybody, we want to appeal to more black people. We want to appeal to more gay people. We want to appeal to more Latinos. We want to appeal to more women. We want to, they had more characters that appealed to everybody, regardless of who that person looked like or who they claimed to be. And regardless of their intentions, the fallout has been massively a failure. It's just been an absolute failure. Oh, my dog is barking. They've decided to substitute having broad appeal to having a narrow appeal. And when you do this as an entertainment company built on the foundation of family, which is the broadest appeal possible, you effectively shoot yourself in the foot. They don't have that broad appeal that they once did. They no longer desire that broad appeal that they once did. Even though they abandoned Reimagined Tomorrow, they're still releasing projects like Snow White and having Rachel Ziegler go out and just wave the flag of diversity and, oh, the old story's too old, so we need to redo it because its concepts are outdated, says the person who's only been alive for 22 years. Yeah. No life experience there. So they've completely abandoned what they're about and what Walt was about. Walt was a family man. He was arguably more of a conservative man. And he wanted to make entertainment that was safe, trustworthy, and fun for kids and families alike. And he wanted a place for people to be happy with the theme parks. But they've ruined all of it. All of it is ruined. You know, there was a long time there that I thought, you know what, I want to go to Disney World, be a monorail operator. I think that'd be fun. Not too complicated of a job. I just want to go there and operate, be a part of that transit system, just to help people get to and from the parks. I think that'd be a lot of fun. You know, wasn't factoring in the absolute insanity of the Florida heat. When I first went, I realized, oh yeah, I am not doing this all year round, so no thank you. But I thought, hey, it looks like it's a good environment to work in. It looks like it's fun. It looks like I'll gain a whole lot of experiences. You know, this would be great. It'd be as great working there as it would be visiting. But over the years, that delusion passed. I've met several people who've wanted to work for Disney, and I've had to wave all of them off. You know, they're not the same company that you grew up with. They really aren't. They're not the same company I grew up with. They're a company based on political ideology, diversity, equity, inclusion, and I'm not here to demonize diversity. Okay? Diversity is a naturally occurring thing. But it's not the basis, it should never be the basis of your company's founding principles. It should never be the basis of your storytelling if you're an entertainment company. It should never be the basis of how you hire people. You hire people based on merit, as far as meritocracy is concerned. I don't care if you disagree with meritocracy or not. Meritocracy is the whole reason the world goes round. You need people who are qualified to do what they do and are exceptional at doing what they do. Doesn't matter what they look like. Doesn't matter what their personal belief systems are. If they're good at that job, you want them. But Disney doesn't operate like that, so don't many companies. Disney is one of the worst Hollywood studios in the 21st century. One of the worst entertainment companies in the 21st century. Their entire image is being burned, and Bob Iger is desperately trying to bail water out of the boat with a small thimble. You know, their last earnings call was not very good. He just sat there and lied about a majority of what's going on. And he's been doing that for a while, to the point where the company is being sued by, I believe, different investors for them boasting about how Disney Plus would perform, and it never performed the way they said it would. So the company's absolutely on fire, and it brings me no joy to say that. I mean, it brings me joy knowing that the people who ruined the company have ruined their reputations. They deserve that. But the company was built to be so much better. Walt built that company, and he sacrificed so much. Getting that original Snow White was such a gamble. That's why the Snow White stuff is insulting to people. You see people, why are people so upset with Rachel Ziegler? Why are they? Because Snow White, to people who love Disney, to people who know the history of Disney, that is a fundamentally important movie. The Seven Dwarfs hold up the pillar of one of the main buildings in Burbank. It's beautiful. And it's a tribute. They decided to do that because it's a tribute to the gamble that Walt took. Walt was a great man. Wasn't a perfect man. I mean, he smoked like a chimney, which is why he got lung cancer and eventually died. So he didn't live to see Disney World come to fruition. But his brother made sure it did. His brother was a good man in that regard. Didn't have the same zeal as Walt. You could clearly see that in a lot of the media that he did. But that's because he was more of a businessman. And at the end of the day, what the Disney brothers established was a company that was safe for families, was fun for families, and was all about the family. Then Iger comes along, and over the years he decides, I'm going to acquire more and more brands, more and more properties that's going to look good to the company, and we're going to try to basically make them into what we want them to be. Those brands that already exist, they're popular. We're going to say that we're responsible for their success, even though we're not. You know, we're going to take Marvel and Star Wars and 20th Century Fox, we're going to make them into girl brands, because Disney was largely a princess brand, which I don't think is an accurate statement as far as... I've seen a lot of people go, Disney is a princess brand, and they've tried to... Not entirely. It's a family brand first. A princess brand is a part of that. But they're trying to feminize a lot of these boy properties like Marvel and Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and try to flip the script and make them about women, whereas women were already enjoying them before as what they were. So it's confusing as to why they even bothered to do that, but that's exactly what they've done. And it doesn't make any sense. You take a brand that's established, you leave it alone, you let it do its thing, you bring on people who understand what it is and who are fans of what it is and want to continue doing it the way that it's supposed to be done. They don't do that anymore. Star Wars under Kathleen Kennedy, none of the lore that Lucas established matters. None of it. Not a single bit of it. It's just, let's have female Jedis be at the forefront. Because that's exactly why people watch Star Wars. Same with Star Trek, female captains and having them dominate, and she has to be black and she has to be diverse, and freaking Star Trek Discovery. It's a plague on Hollywood, but Disney's especially guilty of this DEI woke nonsense, and it's killing the company. And you'll hear people say, well, why do you people complain about wokeness? Because it didn't used to be there. And things were good. Things were making money. These studios were succeeding. Now they've done that. They're losing money. They're pushing audience members away. It's not working for them. I don't care if you agree with that philosophy or you disagree with that philosophy. They're losing money. They're losing audience interest. The Disney company is now mud, and it's banned from several people's homes. You don't want that as a company. You want to have something that has broad appeal, and the broadest appeal is the family. But they're not bringing in family-oriented people to work for the Walt Disney Company. They're bringing in weirdos and degenerates and ideological psychopaths. They're bringing in everybody but family-oriented people. They should be disgusted with themselves for this. They really should. Because they've destroyed the legacy of a man who all he wanted to do was create something good for both his daughters and for the general public at large. Should be ashamed of themselves. They really should. Bob Iger should retire in disgrace. Absolutely disgusting. But anyways, that's the tragedy of Disney's lost magic. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. This has been Super Koopa TV. God bless. Have a good one. Peace.